So in the winter of 1989, my parents brought home our very first sled. And for the next few years after that, my brothers beat the shit out of that sled. Then it was parked in this shed where it waited a few years for a young Vincent to turn 12 so that he could take it over. And in today's video, I'm gonna bring you on a little bit of a journey and tell you where this passion all started.
In 79, 89, yeah, all my buddies had snow machines. Just started the new business, construction business, and we did pretty good that year, so I had 3 boys, so I said, it's now or never.
Introducing the all-new Ovation. The perfect bridge between our family sleds and our high-performance enthusiast machine. The stylish Ovation combines sporty performance with top riding comfort. Plush seating, wind snow protection, nimble steering, and the lightest weight in its class. Feature our proven 340 twin-cylinder engine, YPZ primary clutch, all-new carburation for exceptional throttle response, and a jack shaft to keep center of gravity low and improve rigidity. For additional riding comfort, the deluxe model features an electric starter and handlebar warmers, a speedometer, and a storage compartment in the backrest. With their wide customer appeal and exceptional quality, their lightweight and great handling, their agility and sporty performance, the new Ovation and Ovation Deluxe are sure to be top sellers. So much so, they promise to be even more successful than the Phaser.
I remember you going a lot at Dunnet corner. You take the machine and go there to play hockey.
This is St. Charles Arena, the grandest building in town. I don't know if it's actually the biggest. The elementary school might be technically the biggest, but in my mind as a kid, this was the grandest building. This was the hub of the community, one of the rare places where everybody from the community would gather together, as well as surrounding communities. It's a pretty special place. And for a couple of years in my life, I had to walk to hockey practice. But when I got in the sled, all of that changed. I could then take the sled to the arena, and that was a game changer. I always felt a little bit of extra pride being able to walk into somewhere while holding my skidoo helmet. Yeah, we used to, it was all skidoo. Everything was skidoo back then. It didn't matter if you were riding a Yamaha, it was still wearing a skidoo suit, a skidoo helmet, and you went skidooing. That's how we rolled. So as you pulled up to St. Charles Arena, just to the left of the building was the unofficial sled parking. All the sleds pretty much parked there. You had a few that would maybe want to show off their machines, might park on top of the snowbank, which back then was easy, like anywhere between 6 and 8 feet probably. But then if you had a really special machine, you could probably get away with using the special VIP sled parking, which was right in front of the door, so that as everybody walked through, they could get a glance at your sled. And in fact, that is the first time I seen a all-black Mach 1. When I first saw that in person, it was right there in front of that door, and that thing looked like a rocket ship. I don't know if they were fast, but it sure fucking looked fast. How great is this helmet? That's my first time really looking at it. It's hilarious. What you see behind me here is a beautiful stretch of undisclosed road here where I hit the absolute top speed with this Ovation. So you know, hitting top speeds with sleds is all about the proper conditions. And something aligned one evening. The road was hard packed, covered with snow. I also had my buddy Chuck sitting on the back on the little hump here, and he was holding on for dear life. He doesn't do so well with motorsports, doesn't have a great history there. So he was just trying to survive. And I thought, what better time than now to try and hit the top speed? And this is a beautiful stretch of road here, as you can see behind me. It's pretty well flat, and then just as you get to the end, there's a slight dip just to get that few extra kilometers an hour, meaning that I hit a blistering 110 kilometers an hour with this bad boy. I get all kinds of feels being here again on this road on this sled, so I am going to hit it up, and we'll see what it can do. I'm pretty positive it's not going to do 110. The combined weight of me and Chuck back in the day is probably close to where I'm at right now, but out of respect for the owner of this sled, I'm not going to give it everything she's got on here. So, but I am going to do a little bit of speed here, just for nostalgia's sake. Let's go! So this spot here is called Dunnet Corner. I had a handful of friends that lived in this area, kind of like a little rural subdivision kind of community on its own. It's actually one of the original parts of St. Charles. I'm pretty sure the first school that was ever built in St. Charles was built on this corner. So as a young Canadian boy, hockey was life, and we were always looking for ways to play hockey. One of those options that we had was right here at Dunnet Corner. We had a great outdoor rink here. I don't know when it was founded or whatever, but when I was growing up, there was a little warm-up shack with a heater in there. There was a great gentleman that lived right across the road named Paul, and he would typically come and scrape it and make sure that it was always pristine for us. And that meant that a handful of times throughout the winter, we could come out here and play. But rides didn't come easy back in our day. So once I got a sled, it meant that I could come to Dunnet Corner whenever I wanted. So this is actually my first time here since being a young boy. Unfortunately, it has not been kept up. Doesn't even look like there's a driveway or road going into it anymore. I think I found the spot. So I'm gonna go for a little bit of a walk and see if we can find where it used to be. The snow's a little deep. Oh yeah. All right, so I've set the camera down at one end of the rink, and I'm just going to take a quick walk to the other end just to give you a little bit of an idea on scale. So yeah, it's hard to gauge the size of this, but maybe close to like a 3/4 size rink. Nah, maybe more like half. But as a kid, felt like 3/4, felt like the full size. Makes me pretty happy to be here, I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty awesome. There used to be a giant light pole right up here with the one big light. That was right next to the warm-up shack. It was maybe a 30-foot walk from the warm-up shack to the rink here. Just a gorgeous spot, just buried kind of in the woods, you know, nothing else around. It's a great spot. All right, off to the next. This is a little stretch of trail that I spent a lot of time on as a kid. Whether it be in the winter or summer, didn't matter the season. This is the trail going to the pit. Oh man. Look at what this helmet's doing to my head. All right, now if you're from a small town, my guess is that you also had a pit somewhere in your town. That's where we went to essentially hide out from our parents. But the groom trail used to go through here. The first year we got our license, I remember it being a pretty early start. Early enough that during Christmas break, they had groomed the trails. So we went out, but the sled wasn't ready. It was getting fixed. And my buddy slash cousin Phil had his dad's sled, which was kind of an Arctic Cat 2-up seat. I don't remember which model it was. But anyway, he said that we could take it out. So it had a 2-up seat. Phil brought me on the back. They had let me drive it around Lake Nipissing a little bit, but I remember the agreement being that I was not to drive it on the trail. It didn't take long for me to ask Phil if I could drive it. I mean, I couldn't help it. I just needed to drive it. And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. We're on the stretch, coming to the pit, and we could get a little bit of speed. It's a straight stretch, nice little spot. Just got on, I'm excited. I get on it. We get to the last corner just before the pit, hit the brakes, and slam right into a tree. So this is a section here, so straight, and then as we turn around, you'll see straight stretch. And just before getting here, there's the corner, which is the one I missed. So I'd say we ended up probably in some of these trees over there. So we were okay. The sled, not so much. There was a little bit of bodywork damage. And so Phil, being the great friend that he was, he took the blame for it. What a guy, what a guy. And that was the last time that I ever drove that sled. I did learn a valuable lesson about braking. And that was my first experience with having to brake. So lesson learned, I guess. If my memory serves me correct, there was about $400 worth of damage on the sled. And just so you know, as an adult, quite a few years later, I did admit to it to Manon Cleo and offered to pay him the $400 back. But of course he denied. Merci Phil and merci Manon Cleo. Phil and I went on to ride for quite a few years after that without any more serious accidents. So let's head off to the next location. So this is our place. Yeah, not my place. It's a restaurant. It was our place. It used to be called our place. Yeah, it was a restaurant, the town restaurant. This was the hotspot for all the local sledders. All the local sledders would go here, especially Friday nights. Friday nights was the big night. You can guarantee that on a Friday night in the wintertime, there'd be at least 10 sleds here. The designated parking here was a little bit different. You had maybe 3 or 4 slots right here in front of the restaurant, illegally parked on the sidewalk. And then you had some VIPs that could park just to the right of the restaurant. And then all of the overflow would be across the street at the post office. So you'd see a little overflow parking over here, and then a little over there. This is where we would come to loiter and just wait for our friends. I mean, we might buy the occasional pop, maybe a fry or something, play some pool, and then round up the gang, and then go from there.
You're the only one that didn't wreck it. That's it.
And took care of it.